Hello, Toronto! Behind me, we've got the beautiful skyline of Toronto. And here I am today to talk to all of you about the development of Toronto through the organization of Maximum City. So, the question that we are being asked and that Maximum City focuses on is, how do kids feel about these developments? About all of these condos, beautiful buildings, new constructions, parks, bike lanes, and all of it. And so that is what we will explore today. All right, so how do we figure out the perspectives of kids as it relates to various developments and certain things like bike lanes and parks in the city? And so one of the things we do is we would take them to various spots and show them some different things and ask them questions about it. One of the spots to bring kids to might be Graffiti Alley. This is obviously not Graffiti Alley, but it is some graffiti. And asking students about their perspectives, is this art or is this vandalism, helps to get a sense about how they feel with regards to certain things like graffiti. So as we can see here, we have a wonderful bike lane as I'm walking along Bloor. And this would be a question to ask of the kids as to whether or not they feel safe in the bike lane, whether or not they prefer some of the physical barriers or just a lane barrier, and how they generally feel about these kinds of things and these kinds of developments throughout the city. Additionally, garbage, another big thing to focus on for kids. Do they think their city is clean? How does a dirty city make them feel? And things of that nature. So let's continue on our wonderful walk. Alrighty, so here we are in the immaculate Christie Pitts Park, showing the park here today because the park is another kind of classic question for kids as it relates to how they feel about their neighborhood. And so oftentimes kids will refer to the park in a positive manner, but also we have to think about, well, what about at nighttime? You know, and at nighttime for kids, especially younger kids, the park is a very scary and creepy place. So here we are, again, Christie Pitts Park, trying to understand how kids generally feel about parks to get an understanding of how they feel about their neighborhood, which is then used as data for Maximum City. We have one more stop on our tour of Bloor Street and of Maximum City, and so we will take you to a construction site formerly known as Honest Ed's. Alrighty, so I'm here at the corner of Bloor and almost Bathurst, where Honest Ed's used to be, and we can see behind me we've got a whole slew of construction and borders kind of built up for the protection of peoples. And so what we would want to ask kids is, how do they feel about kind of the construction, whether it's on their way to school, in their neighborhood, and about kind of the general changes that are being made all around the city as it relates to all sorts of development projects. Alrighty, so we just had a little bit of a tour of Bloor Street and of some of the questions that Maximum City would ask kids about how they feel with regards to their neighborhood and various developments. But what's the point of asking this question? Towards what end or end goal? Well, what Maximum City does is they collect all of this data from kids with regards to the answers that they've provided. They use that data and insert it into an already existing algorithm that will determine the youth friendliness of a particular intersection, area, community, or neighborhood. Once that kind of data is collected and the algorithm is put in place, and the youth score is determined for that area, that algorithm and that youth score is then handed over to city planners or developers, and those people can then kind of tell any kind of interested parties or stakeholders, hey, here's the opinion of children as it relates to this project. So here we have kids who are traditionally kind of not heard of in terms of as a stakeholder, but Maximum City is trying to provide that voice and trying to insert that voice as a stakeholder in these kinds of conversations as it relates to city planning and the developments throughout Toronto. So I want to thank you for joining me on my tour and for learning a little bit more about Maximum City.